What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Life Lessons. Welcome back. So, listen, you guys, let me take a deep breath so that I can speak to you guys in the best communicative way that I can, without tripping over my words or, getting, having anxiety about what I want to talk to you guys about. But are you guys okay? Are you guys okay? I'm okay. I am well aware of the state of our country right now, as I know you are too. And given all this talk about how we have moved from a republic to a democracy to now an oligarchy where a very small percentage of people in our country now have a widespread control of the country. I'm well aware. I'm also well aware that we have a president who is against almost everything I believe in. Someone who doesn't respect women and their rights, someone who doesn't accept any one of, this complexion, and is kind of just someone who's like a big fat bully who just thrives on having control and power. And through it all, I'm still in a space where I'm like, okay. And I think that because this is not the first time, you know what I mean, that I've heard the stories or I've been gone through an experience of feeling discriminated against or feeling as if I don't have the same rights or, things of that nature. I'm not surprised at how things are kind of going. I'm thankful, actually. The last few years, I've gone through such a huge spiritual transformation where I've been able to really address some things about myself, really work on my self-esteem, work on my mental health, emotional health, and I'm still working on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still doing a lot of work to work on all of those things within myself, but I feel prepared to take on whatever comes my way this year and even the next 4 years. And I hope you guys are too. I hope that, last year and prior to, even during the pandemic, you were able to take some time to yourself and really assess some of your own issues, some of your own problems, with trauma from the past or, anything that you feel like you need to deal with that, almost in a way prevents you from enjoying life and, handling really tough situations. Because that was me, you know what I mean? That was me in the past. I struggled to handle tough situations. I struggled to be an adult, right? Be a mature adult. And I was a victim in nearly all of my conversations. There was always something wrong with the other person or with the situation, and it was never my fault, right? Even if I did take some of the blame, it always would revert back to what the other person did. And I could never take responsibility for the role that I played, but I would say that I've grown from that and I've been working on myself. And so that's why I'm in such a healthy space now, because now when I see a president, like I said, who is against all of my beliefs and values and is implementing laws and policies that may disrupt my way of life or make things harder for me in my life, I don't put the blame all the way on him. I look at myself and I say, okay, well, how have you prepared up until this moment, right? Because a lot of the things that I'm going through or I'm about to go through, I played a part in. And so anything that does happen beyond this presidency or within this presidency, I know that as long as I take full responsibility for my own actions and how I'm showing up, everything will be okay, right? Because the one thing I know about karma, one thing I know about like my belief in God and my belief in the fact that there's a higher, you know what I mean? Like, I don't claim to be this huge religious person. I don't, you know what I mean? I went to church, on and off when I was younger, Methodist, Baptist. I've gone to churches like that, and I did love them, but I always questioned the Bible. I've always questioned Jesus and God, you know what I mean? However, I've always believed that there was a higher power than myself, than all of us. I've always believed that there was something greater beyond us, right? Because I've always questioned, why are we here, right? There's a reason that we're all here, all of us, you know what I mean? And there's many of us. Why are we here? Why did the trees grow and stay for hundreds and hundreds of years? Why are the oceans full of water? Why? I mean, these are questions that I used to ask when I was like, 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, I would always question everything. And when I got older and I went through things, and I got through things, I always realized that there was something greater than myself that was helping me through those situations. And so when I think about this presidency, I'm trying to keep my head on right, because with TikTok and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and Google, all of these social media platforms, it's very easy to get lost in the sauce. It's very easy to get lost in everyone's like point of view and opinions. And like, the one thing that we know nowadays is that we have to fact check. We really have to do our research, because you might repost something that someone said, and what this person could have said, they might be staking it on like as the truth, as factual, and you didn't do your own research, and what this person actually did was said was not factual, and it's very detrimental to our communities. It's detrimental to people as a whole, because information just comes and goes, and so you struggle to know who or what to believe. And so the one thing I do want to say is that trust yourself, trust your instincts, trust yourself and trust your instincts, because you will know. If you come across information where it feels and it resonates with you, you'll know, like, okay, this resonates with me. Or even if it does resonate with you, but it triggers you, you might say, oh, this is real. This is true, but I am triggered by it. And then you identify why you're triggered by it. But then there's some things where you hear and you're just like, that sounds so off. And you do your research. The thing about me is I'm going to do my research. When I hear new words that don't make sense, I've never heard of or something like that, I'll research it. If I hear about something that happened, back in the day during slavery times, or, when we talk about world wars and, civil wars and stuff like that, I'll research that. Like, if people say things that they try to persuade you to believe is factual, I will do the research, because I don't want to be that person that's kind of just, that is helping to sell propaganda, basically. But I know this term is going to be something. I don't want to say it's hard. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I'm always optimistic just in general. Like, I'm a very optimistic individual. And so I'm optimistic about what is to come. And I do not want to sit around like some people I've seen online, just wish. We've talked about this last couple of years. We talked about the power of thought, and for you to just come out of nowhere, just because there's a person that has the power to create darkness, it doesn't mean that that darkness will be able to penetrate you. And so if you walk around screaming that dark days are upon us, this is going to be a long 4 years, there's going to be darkness, there's going to be pain, there's going to be sadness, there's a lot of things that are going to happen to us, bad things that are going to happen to us in the next 4 years, then guess what? You're going to manifest that for not just yourself, but for people as a whole, right? You are energetically preparing yourself for these bad things to happen. And I don't want that. I've come through so much in my life, and I do not want to prep myself for like negativity. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say that I'm not prepared. You know what I mean? I'm not to say like I'm that type of, I have been actually within the last year, I started buying some like survival things just in case anything would happen. You know what I mean? I am still continuing to prepare, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sit around and, prepare for darkness and prepare for pain, and prepare for struggles, or prep myself energetically to create it, right? I don't believe that, I believe that there are some things that are going to be happening that I'm not going to be happy about, but I also know that I'm going to be able to navigate it. And I feel like you're going to be able to as well. I feel like, especially if you're watching this video, you're definitely going to be able to, you obviously energetically align with me in some way or another. So you are absolutely on the path to healing, and you are energetically preparing yourself for the goodness of God, the greatness of God, and the things that are going, the blessings, right? We're not preparing ourselves for evil, we're not doing that. But yeah, I feel like the next 4 years is going to be whatever the next 4 years is going to be. And you know what I mean? We all are living in our own, it's like we're all living in our own separate movie. I don't even know how to explain that. I was going to say like we're all living in our own separate movie, but there's one screen. Like, it's interesting. I'm not gonna lie. This is a time for us, for sure. This is a time for us, for sure. I don't want to make this video like super long and talking about nothing. The TikTok ban, you guys, TikTok was down for 15 plus hours. How? It shut down and then it was rebooted back up like it never even happened. Why did it even shut down to begin with? That is the big question. Why did it shut down to begin with? Some people are saying it was because of the meme coin that Trump had dropped just prior to the shit talk. just prior to TikTok shutting down, he put out his meme coin that started out in the cents and is up to like $40-$50 or something like that now. People made thousands, millions overnight. And these are some of the distractions. Like, this is why it's so important for us to stay super centered. Because if we allow ourselves to be too consumed with that of the world, with that of other people's opinions and judgments and the news, and like, if we're too consumed, we're gonna miss the point. And I don't know about you, but the last couple of years, I mean, I'm talking since I graduated high school, it has been a roller coaster. A roller coaster. Because there's so many things happening, and I am so tired. I'm so tired of being on the side where I'm waking up and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why didn't I know this was happening? Why didn't I know this was happening? And it's like, you can't, there's so many things that we're focusing on, and that's why social media is so tricky, because social media will have you thinking about, it'll have you looking into, if you're a parent, different parenting styles, recipes for cooking. It'll have you looking into different schools to apply to. It'll have you looking at funny videos. It'll have you thinking about if you are a avoidant, or if you have, if you're that type of like your love language and stuff like that. You'll be talking about this celebrity and what they're doing. We'll be talking about conspiracies and Diddy parties. I mean, there's so, like, we're all over the place. We're all over the place. Not to mention that we have holidays. So not only are we doing all of those things, we're like, oh, maybe we should garden. Oh, I want to be healthy too. Oh, what about fitness? There's so, like, we're like drowning in information. And it's a blessing, but it's also a curse if not used properly. Information is literally at our fingertips right now. And everyone's asking themselves, like, how do we have so much information? And there's people that are still poor. Because the attention span of most people it's minuscule. I'm a part of that group. It's very tiny. This year alone, you guys, I have decided to minimize my distractions. And so last year alone, I'm not even going to talk about prior to, but last year, I worked about 4 or 5 different jobs. I was also trying to do digital marketing, so I was creating ebooks and courses and stuff like that, recording videos. I was also trying to still study Forex. I was also doing content for YouTube. I had created 5 extra YouTube channels. I was creating websites. I was doing TikTok. I was doing tarot. I was doing a lot. And for a long time, I thought I was able to do multiple things at once. That is not true. Not in a sense where to be good at it. I mean, there's things at home like, oh, I can do multiple things at once. You know what I mean? You're caring after your children, but you're also cleaning the house, but you're also listening to music, you're also watching TV. You know what I mean? We're doing multiple things. But when it comes to, like, outside of that, outside of your comfort zone, and especially things that are tied to money, it's so important to stick to one thing. And so I've made myself clear to myself that I'm like, the goals that I have include building consistently, making sure I post a video every day for my YouTube channel, making sure I post content, keep posting content for my TikTok. And I might even put that on the back burner as well. Knowing, how shiesty TikTok has been lately, I might literally just put that on the back burner, but I'm still posting. And making sure I keep my 9-to-5 job, making sure I keep a consistent 9-to-5, which I have 2 of them. So it's super important for me this year to just buckle down, because I know that if I buckle down, regardless of what's happening in the government, as long as I can focus on my own goals and make sure I stay firm to them, disciplined and consistent, I know that by December of 2025, I will have exceeded something. I will be able to thank myself because I stayed consistent. The 30 subscribers that I have now on this channel, I'm prepared to see 3,000, 3,000 by the end of the year. Is it possible? Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe even more. I intend to make sure that I am better at the end of this year than I was at the beginning. Absolutely. And I'm not about to allow a president, a government, anything or anyone stand in the way of that. I'm not. I don't think you should either. I think that we are in a space in our world and in life right now where if you let it, it'll be just as scary as it is amazing. Because we don't know what can or can't happen. But the amount of information that's available can make you successful. But also the spiritual awakening and coming, the coming of self, the becoming or something like that, the becoming, a lot of us don't realize that the 20s or 30s or 40s, a lot of us are learning information that our parents and grandparents have not or have yet to learn, or are just now learning in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s. We are getting better. We're becoming more aware. But the thing is how we nurture that. Focus, what do we focus on? We've got to get our attention spans together. I know for a fact I do. I can guarantee there is about at least 10-15% of the country is undiagnosed for ADHD. At least 10-15%. And we're not even going to talk about what is it called? Damn, I forgot the word. Let me know in the comments because I think y'all know. See, this channel used to be called Let That Shit Go. When I first made the channel, I named it. Actually, I changed it a bunch of times, but the very last time it was called Let That Shit Go, because that was the season of my life where I was purging. I was purging everything: people, feelings, habits, everything. I was purging. I was just letting go of anything that was not aligning with me or serving me. I stopped smoking weed. You know, I'm not gonna say I don't smoke cigarettes at all, because I occasionally do, but I don't smoke them every day now. I can go days and weeks without it. I'm training my body and training my mind to like do better. And I didn't have therapy. I didn't have counseling. I didn't have any of that. I've had to do a lot of my own self-help, a lot of my own research, and I'll thank God for the people in my corner that have supported me and who have listened to me, and I'll always be forever grateful. But the truth of the matter is and then this is why a lot of relationships struggle as well, is because that you can't make anyone want to change. Like, you have to want that for yourself. You know what I mean? You have to want to live different, see different, be different, feel different. Like, you have to want that for yourself. And we always say, like, the woman has the potential, like the woman sees the potential in a man. It's like you see the potential of this person. Like, this person could be so great if they would just like care a little more, or if they would just love me a little more, if they would just, if they would just. But it's like, you can't make them. And like, when you do things that make people want to change because of what you did for them or how you made them feel in a way, it doesn't last long. It doesn't last long. That's like the motivation speeches and the people that talk online, where they're just like, you're gonna do this and you're gonna be a great this and blah blah blah. It's great, you know what I mean? It's a temporary high for sure, and it shows you what is out there, like what is on the other side of the healing. But you realize, like, it doesn't last long, because if you can't self-motivate, if you can't create the urges for yourself, it won't happen. Like, it won't last long. And I knew that for myself. I used to watch E.T., the hip-hop, is it the hip-hop preacher, E.T., something like that. I watched him a couple years ago. My ex had left me, and I was taking care of my daughter at the time. She was less than 6 months. So she was young. She was always crying, and I was going through it. I didn't have a job. They didn't have daycare. I didn't have a car. He took the car. I was just going through so much back then. And my will to live and my strength and everything was just tested. And I just remember back then that I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning randomly. I would always wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. The baby would be crying. I'd have to feed her or something like that. And I'd just be up. And then I started getting online, and he would be on at 3 o'clock. He'd say, just keep waking up at 3 o'clock. If you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, this is a message. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody's sleep. It's morning, but everyone's sleep. It's like it's almost like they say that, it's like it's the time where all the angels are coming together, the spirit guides or something like that. I'm not even gonna, I don't remember exactly what they said, but very spiritual time to wake up in the morning. And I remember waking up at that time every day for weeks. I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would listen to his speech, and I would listen to him talk and stuff like that, and I would go back to sleep. You know what I mean? But I needed that. You know what I mean? I needed that urge, and for a couple of days, I would watch it. It would make me feel good. Go back to sleep, and the day would still be hard. And then time would go by, and this something inside of me shifted, where I was like, okay, it's up to you. You know what I mean? E.T. is not going to come through the phone and sit down with me and have drinks with me and, make me feel better and, like, talk my ear off and, keep motivating me throughout the day. So I have to find a way to do that myself. And I remember back then it was cold too, like it was like the winter time. And I remember I would do that, wake up in the morning at 3, feed my daughter, and I would go back to sleep. And then we wake up, I'd make us a nice breakfast, and I'd put on some gospel music. And I started using that to fuel me again. So I would just keep doing things to make me happy and to keep me fueled, to keep me motivated. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, because I had back then my anxiety was like peaked, for sure. Like back then it was so peaked, and I didn't really even want to leave the house. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I gotta get some fresh air. And not just me, like my kids have to get some fresh air. They can't be bottled up like this, you know what I mean? So I would do that too. So I would make a big breakfast for us. I would get us fed, and we'd eat. And then regardless of how tired or how much of a struggle it would be or how cold it would be, I would make sure we took a walk. And there was a hill where I was living, and so it was very steep. So you'd have to walk down the hill. You go down the hill, but then you'd have to walk up that jump, and it was tough. But I knew for me it was like, okay, this is my little bit of exercise, and it's also like it feels like a little bit of work. You know what I mean? So it's like me pushing myself. So I'll take the kids out. At the bottom of the hill, there was a park. So I would take the kids down there for like about an hour. They would play for a little bit, and then we'd walk back up the hill. And I would feel proud. And every day I would do that. I would say at least 5 days a week. 5 days out of the week, I would do that while I was figuring out how, to work and get the kids in the daycare and stuff like that. And over time, things started to just fall into place, because at the time I was able to collect unemployment, and then I was able to get my kids in the daycare. Then I was able to get some food stamps. Then I was able to, look for a job. So everything just started to literally fall into place for me. And it's because I would push myself. And I don't know why I keep doing this. But like I'm telling you, like I would push myself. I had to like really, really talk to myself and push myself to get moving every day. And I'm so much better now for it, because I was alone. I was literally alone, and I was like, I had a 5-month-old, and I had July, August, November. Yeah, I had a 4 or 5-month-old, and I also had a 1-year-old at the time. And I was like, bruh, I was like, oh my gosh. I was terrified. Like I was bawling my eyes out all the time. All the time. And I remember one night I was smoking the green stuff. And I got super paranoid. And I called the police. And turns out it was just a mouse that was running through my house. But like that was like one of the things that helped trigger me to realize, okay, well, we're gonna stop smoking weed right now. Okay? We're gonna stop smoking weed. We're gonna start picking up some healthier habits. So it's just like, I say that to say, like, this whole entire video was kind of just to check in with you guys and to just let you know that regardless of what happens these next 4 years, we will be okay. Right? We'll be okay. We've been doing the work. I know for a lot of people, even right before the pandemic, because we know, like, right before the pandemic, like, things were way different than they are now. The air it felt safe, at least back then. And then the pandemic hit and all these people died and everything just got so gloomy. But I say that to say we've all witnessed, or we've all gone through something like a huge spiritual transformation. A lot of us have. And so when we talk about this age of Aquarius, this is our time to live in our truth, live in our individuality, and really live in our authenticity and show up as the person that we want to be, and really have these conversations and create the dialogue so that everybody else can have the conversation as well, so that everyone can realize, hey, we're living individual lives, but we share similar stories. And we don't have to feel alone, and we don't have to feel like it's the end of the world, simply because a huge part of our life may be affected in a way. Because the one thing that I've also learned is that we only have control over ourselves. We don't even have control over our kids. We push them out of our wombs, but we don't have control over them. We only have control over ourselves. And so we have to take care of this vessel, take care of our mind. Excuse me. And prepare our body energetically for whatever's to come, so that we can block it, or so that we can receive. So I think that everything will be okay, and I want you guys to just remain optimistic as well. So with that being said, thank you for joining me in Life Lessons, and I hope that you guys come back. I hope that you share this video and comment down below your thoughts, like this video, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will catch you in the next video. Peace.